Long ago, in the vast and golden savannas of Africa, there was a small village known as Zimwana. The people of Zimwana lived in harmony with nature, relying on the land, the animals, and the guidance of the stars. At the center of their beliefs was the moon, which they saw as the guardian of their fates. They sang songs to the moon, lit fires under its light, and believed it was a bridge to their ancestors' spirits. Among the Zimwana was a young girl named Moonlight. She had been born on a night when the full moon glowed so brightly that it lit the entire savanna like the sun. Her parents, seeing her luminous eyes and the silver streak in her dark hair, named her after the moon, believing she was blessed by its light. Moonlight was brave, curious, and kind-hearted, always seeking to help her people and protect the beauty of the land. Near the village lay a sacred place called Simba Ngoma, the Lion Circle. This ancient site, marked by towering stones and a canopy of stars, was where the lions gathered to roar under the full moon. To the Zimwana, these roars were sacred. They believed the lions' voices carried the wisdom and blessings of the ancestors, connecting the earth and the heavens. But in recent moons, the lions' roars had ceased. The silence was chilling, and with it came despair. The rains that once nourished the crops stopped, the wild animals fled, and the hunters returned empty-handed. The elders whispered of a curse, and the villagers feared that the ancestors had turned their backs on them. One fateful evening, as the full moon rose, the village gathered around a great fire. The elders, draped in robes adorned with feathers and beads, spoke of their plight. "The silence of the lions has broken the balance," the eldest among them said. "Without their roars, the spirits are lost. Someone must go to the Simba Ngoma and seek the truth. But it is a journey of great peril. Who among us has the courage?" The villagers looked at one another, fear clouding their faces. To venture to the lion circle was to face the unknown, the wrath of the silent lions, and perhaps the anger of the ancestors themselves. "I will go," Moonlight said, her voice clear and unwavering. The villagers gasped, for Moonlight was young, barely old enough to be called a woman. But there was a strength in her eyes that silenced their protests. The elders blessed her, giving her a small drum to carry, for it was said that the sound of a drum could call the spirits. As the moon climbed higher into the sky, Moonlight set off alone. The savanna was vast and quiet, with only the whisper of the wind and the rustle of grass to keep her company. But she was unafraid, for she trusted in the moon's light to guide her. After hours of walking, she reached the Simba Ngoma. The circle of ancient stones loomed before her, bathed in silvery moonlight. The air was heavy with silence, and the shadows seemed alive. She stepped into the circle and knelt, placing her drum before her. "Great spirits of the lions," she called out, her voice steady. "Why have you fallen silent? What troubles you?" At first, there was no response. Then from the shadows a massive lion emerged. Its golden eyes glowed, and its mane shimmered as though it carried the stars themselves. Moonlight knew at once that this was no ordinary lion. It was the king of lions, the guardian of the circle. "Why do you disturb our silence, child of the moon?" the lion rumbled, its voice deep and resonant. "Our village suffers," Moonlight replied, bowing her head in respect. "The silence of your roars has brought drought and despair. Tell me, mighty one, what has caused this silence?" The lion's gaze softened, and he let out a deep sigh. "The balance has been broken," he said. "Your hunters have grown greedy, taking more than they need. They have driven away my pride, and without them, I cannot roar. For my voice is not mine alone. It belongs to my brothers and sisters. Without the harmony of the pride, the circle remains broken." Moonlight's heart ached at the lion's words. She realized that her people's actions had disrupted the delicate balance between humans and nature. "Great One," she said, her voice firm, "I will restore the balance. I will make this right." The lion nodded, and Moonlight felt a surge of determination. She returned to her village and gathered the hunters, the elders, and the people. She told them of the lion's words, of the need to respect the land and the creatures that shared it. Greed has blinded us, she said. We must remember the ways of our ancestors, who took only what they needed and honored the spirits of the wild. The villagers, moved by her courage and wisdom, agreed. They declared the area around the Simba and Goma sacred, a place where no hunter would set foot. They promised to take only what the land could give and to give back in return. The next full moon, Moonlight returned to the lion's circle. She brought with her offerings of water and fruit and beat her drum, singing a song of unity. One by one, the lions returned, their golden eyes gleaming in the moonlight. Their roars rose into the night, a symphony of power and harmony. At last, the king of lions joined them, his voice a mighty roar that echoed across the plains. From that night on, the balance was restored. The rains returned, the crops flourished, and the hunters found game once more. Moonlight became a legend among her people, a symbol of bravery and the harmony between humans and nature. And under every full moon, as the lions roared in the Simba and Goma, the people of Zamwana would listen and remember the girl who had saved them all.